In this video I'm going to show you how to take sick panning shots that look like this. So essentially what a panning shot is you're doing a long exposure while following a subject with your camera. This creates sort of a cool isolation effect around your subject because your subject is in focus but everything else in the background is blurred out. Now typically the best time to do a panning shot would be at night because you get lots of colors from the lights, and it's easier to have a slow shutter speed than during the day because you need like an ND filter to block out a lot of the daylight. Now when you shoot panning shots you have to have a lot of time on your hands because it's a lot of trial and error and it just takes a really long time to get a good shot. At least for me, maybe for you it might be different, but yeah, from my experience that's what I learned. I usually need like 10-20 minutes to at least get like 1 or 2 good shots. But yeah, with that being said, let's head out and take some panning shots. Alright, so we're here at Granville and Robson, which is one of the more busy streets downtown Vancouver, and there's lots of cars, buses, and taxis that pass by, which is going to be great for panning shots. Now for panning shots, I'm going to have my shutter speed at 1/8 of a second, so 1/8. I'm going to have ISO 100 so I don't get a lot of grain in my photo, and I'm going to adjust my aperture accordingly so I have the right exposure. Now basically what me and Kyler are going to be doing is we're going to be standing on one of these corners over here, just camping out, waiting for a nice car or bus or whatever. And now panning shots take a lot of tries, so you have to have a lot of patience and time, but the results definitely pay off. And then after we are done shooting, we're going to head home and edit the photos, and I'm going to show them to you guys. And that's going to be it for this video. So yeah, let's get to shooting. Okay, so I'm here in Lightroom and I have imported my panning shots from the shoot, and I'm going to show you guys how I edit them. So here's the first shot I got, here's the second shot I got, and here's the third shot I got. Alright, so I guess I'll just start off with this bus one. Okay, so my first step is going to be bringing up the shadows because it's a little dark in the shadows, and then I'm going to bring down the highlights like a little bit, maybe like -20, -19, there you go. Bring up the whites a bit, and then bring down the blacks to get a bit more contrast. And I actually really don't like how warm the photo is looking. Like you can tell right here it's looking very warm, so I'm going to change the temperature and I'm going to make it a lot cooler, something like that. And then I'm going to bring up the texture to at least 10 and the clarity to around 20. And then I'm going to turn down the vibrance, and then I'm going to turn up the saturation to give it a pop, to give the colors a bit more of a pop. And then scroll down here, and I have saturation, hue, and luminance. I'm probably going to desaturate the yellows a bit, like that. Change the hues of the yellows as well. I usually like to have my yellows a bit more towards the orange side. That's just personal preference though, it can kind of be whatever. And then for the blues, let's check, I'll go a little bit towards the I'll go a little bit this way, towards the teals. And then with the saturation, I'm going to turn up the blue saturation a bit. And here's where it gets interesting. So I'm going to grab the split toning here, and then, because I like my photos to be more blue, I'm also going to go to the blue. Now this one's highlights, so it's going to be changing the color of the highlights. So I'm going to go a little bit to the blues and desaturate it a bit. So we have 17% saturation on whatever this blue color is. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the shadows. And just test around here. There you go. Pretty much the same spot. I just kind of eyeball it and see what looks good. For the detail, I kind of just leave it on whatever it's already on, so sharpening 40, no noise reduction because I shot it at 100 ISO, and then there's I'm going to turn off the color noise reduction as well. And then I shot this on my 35mm, so I'm going to turn up the defringe because I don't want any like purple or green fringing to be in the photo. It's not too noticeable at f2.8, but at f1.8 it's definitely noticeable. I just turn that up anyways just in case. And then yep, profile corrections are on. And those are sort of the basic adjustments. I'm just going to add some vignetting, turn down the midpoint, turn up the roundness a bit, feather all the way, highlights all the way as well, and a little less, so maybe like 10 or 9. And then I press the backslash key to see before and after. That's before, that's after. I'm trying to think if I can change anything here. I'm going to add a bit more contrast. And that's looking okay for this photo. It was kind of my first one editing. It's also not my favorite photo, so those are just the basic adjustments I'm going to do for all my panning shots though, and then I might adjust them accordingly depending on some of the different things in the other panning shots I got. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy the adjustments, Command C, I'm going to copy them, go into my next photo, which is this biking one. This is one of my favorites from the shoot for sure. So I'm going to paste the adjustments, Command V, and you'll notice once it loads, there's a huge difference. This looks so much better than the bus shot, you can already tell. Like, this is crazy. I kind of just used the bus shot as like a template to sort of see what the adjustments would look like on any photo, and then I knew the colors on this one would be really good, so I pasted my adjustments on, and this is what we got. First things first, I'm going to crop this image a bit because he's a little off-centered and I have too much negative space on the bottom here. I'm going to bring it up so he's sort of in the bottom third. I want to be able to keep these lights in though, and these lights, because it kind of makes the whole photo, makes the photo interesting. So yeah, I'm going to crop it, press enter, and that's already looking a lot better. And then we can press the backslash key again to see before and after. Before, after. Looks so good. Alright, now you notice there's some reds in this photo. I didn't really have any reds in the other photo. So I'm going to go into my HSL and change the reds as well. Saturation can come down a bit. Oh, the reds are up here. Saturation can come down a bit. And then for the hue, I want to go a bit towards the orange. And then maybe luminance, I'll bring it a bit darker. Just like -7 or something. And then I might also change the lumens of the aquas and the blues. Bring those down a bit. Actually, I'll bring them up. How's that look? Yeah, I'll just keep them up a bit. Split toning, I might add a bit more saturation to the shadows. Just because you can kind of see down here. And then I'm also going to grab a graduated filter. And I'm going to drag it up from the bottom, like this. Around here. Like so. And then the exposure's here. I'm going to turn down the exposure. Just sort of, maybe not that much. But the reason I added a graduated filter is to sort of like draw more attention to the subject, because the ground was really bright. And now more attention's on the subject. And then I'm going to also grab a radial filter. I'm going to place it over the subject. Just fit it across. Just like so. And then it's the wrong orientation, so I'm just going to invert it. Click this little box down here. Inverts the filter. And you'll notice that makes it a lot brighter. It's a little too bright. So I'm going to bring up these shadows, and I'm going to turn down this a bit. 6. And then we can just click away. You can sort of see the before and after. And then of the overall photo, I think I'm going to bring up the shadows a bit more. And then maybe a bit of exposure. 0.3. Go 0.45. Looks good. And then I'm also going to go back to here. I just remembered I gotta, oops. I just gotta remember I gotta add some feathering to that. And then I think that's it for this photo. So we can see the final before and after. Before, after. Guys, look at the difference that edit made. Alright, I think I'm actually going to turn this into a preset in case I take any panning shots in the future. So I'm just going to go here, click the plus, create preset. I'll just call it panning shots. Create. I'm not really creative with my preset names, it's kind of basic, but whatever. So, and then I'm gonna copy these settings, and I'm gonna uncheck these because I don't want them to be the same on the next photo. I paste it, press copy, and this is my final photo. Another biker. Bikers usually make really good subjects, but it can be really hard to capture because they're moving while they're biking, so it can get a bit blurry. This is one of the okay ones I managed to capture, so I'm just gonna paste the settings on. And there it is. It's a little overexposed, so that's the first thing I'm gonna change. Bring down the exposure, bring down the shadows, grab the crop tool, rotate it so it's straight. You can kind of tell it's on an angle, and again, make sure he's in the middle, just like that. And then I'm gonna do a graduated filter on the bottom because you can kind of tell it's a bit bright, taking away from the subject. So I'm gonna grab graduated filter, drag it up, just like so. Bring down the exposure, up the shadows a bit, move it around, and dang, that looks good. Before or after, I'm gonna again do the radial filter around the subject. And I'm gonna bring up the shadows. Oh, it has to be inverted. I forgot to invert it. Invert it. Bang, right there. Bring down the exposure a bit. Shadows a bit down. Bring up the feathering. There, looks good. Look away so we can see what it looks like without. Before, after, before, after. I think that looks good for all my photos. The bus one was sort of a test edit, and then the other two are sort of my main favorite photos from the shoot. So that is how I edit my panning shots. I hope you guys enjoyed my first little editing tutorial. I'll probably do more in the future. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. And yeah, that's all for this video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.